Greetings, everybody. Welcome to 1 Degree of Scandalous with Kato Kalin.
We're still here, baby. We're still here, baby.
And Tom Zenner.
Aha.
Episode number 3. Thank you so much for joining us. We are really starting to hit our groove.
Yep.
Kato, we got 2 shows in the can. I'm loving the reception so far. It's so much fun. I've told you this since day one that I felt a podcast for you is one of the most perfect venues for you. And that's what I'm hearing. That's what people are telling me. I'm getting a lot of feedback, but I hope you're enjoying it so far.
I love it. And I'm getting reviews from people in the business, and it's been phenomenal for me.
Well,
And
by
it
the
really
way, what
has.
business is that? I know you're involved in a few.
Amway.
Can we mention this
It's
one?
Amway.
Okay, yes,
Is
they
Amway
love
still
you.
around? And Shackley. It's
Old school.
It's showbiz, baby. Showbiz, people. Yeah, it's gone great. And it's like you say, it's very cathartic. I love just off the cuff speaking, and I think it's coming off that way.
Yep. So thank you to everybody that's made this show possible. This show today is going to be fantastic. Scandal. That's what we do. We talk to the people that are involved right in the middle of it. Coming up later in the show, good friend of yours, Kato, AJ Benza.
Oh, I love AJ. We talked about poker in the last show.
Yeah.
He did the show with Gabe Kaplan. He's got the Mysteries and Scandals from E! And Famous a Bitch podcast. AJ has got stories, I hear, that'll blow your mind. That's incredible, from the mafia to, just
Famous deaths. Biggest scandals. He was there. He covered them.
He's definitely 1 degree in our show today.
Yep. Big gossip columnist in New York City. So he was in the middle of all the dirt for years and years and years. And then we're going to start the show in a few minutes with a very, very special guest. The Johnny Depp thing just won't go away. And here's why. Because it is the second biggest celebrity trial we've ever experienced. Ever.
Yeah.
You were involved in number 1, but you can safely say this was number 2. People are still talking about
You said number 2 because of Amber Heard. Now, come on.
Will
Quit
that joke
using
ever
that.
end?
It will never end. We
At
can't.
what
We
point?
got to say, maybe just say.
Can we bury that joke like
Equis.
at episode 4?
Yeah, I think so.
A ceremonial
I don't
burying.
know.
Flush it.
I believe in recycling. You'll be hearing my jokes over and over. It's a greener environment, please. Tom, you know that. It's recycling.
Kato, you made a point in our first show when we were talking to the People magazine writer that we had on the show that was reporting about the super fans at the trial. This was right when it was ending. And you said, because they have to have wristbands to get in. That's what they use to get into the trial. Very difficult to get, just like it was for the O.J. Simpson trial. Very hard to get into that Johnny Depp, Amber Heard trial. So it's wristbands. It's first come, first serve. You were wondering, I wonder if they're going to start selling those on eBay.
I said that. I said it'd be a genius move. It actually has to happen right away, though.
Yeah.
Someone's got to do this stuff right away, and because the first one obviously is the most special. It's sort of like Miller Lite beer. That was the first beer, most popular. Then others.
Then Spuds McKenzie came in and just destroyed everything,
exactly.
right? The What's Up guys.
Yeah.
Remember them? Okay, so I woke up this morning. By the way, I pulled a Kato Kalin from last week. I was up till 3:30 last night. Don't ask me why. Blame my wife. Party animal. So we were out with some friends last night. Sometimes you lose track of time, right? And that happened last night, even though I had to get up early. So I wake up early this morning on the day of our taping, and I'm involved in news with Valuetainment. I run their news site. So it's news for me 24/7. I always have to process what's going on all the time. One of the big stories that hit this morning that I saw, Kato, was the fact that the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial, someone had sold the notes.
Oh, the notes.
The notes.
The notes. So
that he had
wristbands,
taken.
and now the notes are being sold.
An attorney in Louisville, his name is Larry Foreman. We're going to get to him in a few minutes.
Oh, my God. I got one of his grills. They're amazing.
But can you believe it? That's the power of our show, and I'm very, very grateful, and I'm so excited to talk to Larry. But he made big news this past week, still is, for the fact that he sold his notes on eBay. You won't believe the price. You won't believe the backstory. We're going to be talking to Larry in just a few minutes.
Okay, so you're saying he was in the courtroom taking notes.
He was. He's
and
an
he had a
attorney.
notebook and sold his notebook.
He's a famous attorney in Louisville,
we got it.
Successful attorney, and he took notes, and he has wristbands too. So we're going to get the full scoop from Larry in just a few minutes.
It's Louisville, by the way.
Louisville. Thank you for correcting me. By the way, the other big scandal that happened this week, Britney Spears getting married.
Yes.
Did you notice this? Did you know Madonna was at the wedding?
The wedding wasn't the scandal. There was something else that happened, right?
Yeah, right. So her first husband, Jason Alexander, storms in
From
the other one.
Not Costanza.
Right. The one that was married to her for 15 hours or 50, I think literally 50 hours. It's the shortest marriage in the history of showbiz.
So because there was another marriage too, was the other, oh God, he was the backup dancer. Kevin, I think his first name was.
Oh, yeah, Federline. Kevin Federline.
That was a little bit longer, right?
Oh, yeah, they had children, right? That's who she had her children
Okay.
with. But this marriage to Jason Alexander was very brief. I think it happened in Vegas. So he tries to crash. I'm going to work on getting him for next week's show. No joke. I want to hear from him, but he shows up, blah, blah, blah. Biden's in town. All these presidents are in town this week. Nobody is talking about that. They're all talking about Britney's big wedding.
Right.
But did you see the kiss? Madonna was there, so they reenacted the kiss from the MTV Awards from '93
At the wedding?
Yeah, at the wedding.
We got to see
It
this.
landed a little flat. I don't know, man.
So when did the kiss? When did it take place? After the actual ceremony?
Yeah.
And at the ceremony, was it like, "Now I pronounce you wife and person of interest," or is it? What is it? What
Well,
was
she didn't marry Madonna.
No, not Madonna, but I meant the other. Okay, so Jason Alexander was the guy for 15 hours there. Then there's Kevin Federline, and now the new guy.
Yeah, his first name is Sam. That's a legit marriage. But the interesting thing that happened was Madonna was a guest, and they recreated that kiss from 2003.
But when did that kiss? Do you know when it took place? Did it take place after the ceremony, during the reception, during the bride dance?
After the ceremony. This thing was in her backyard, so it wasn't that formal. Yeah, some people get married in backyards, these big celebrities. I don't know what it is.
I did.
I know you
And
did.
you
It was
know
a
what?
damn good one.
Real quick, I had dinner with David Zucker yesterday. I have this funniest video. I'll be showing you a little bit later and probably posting it because it is brilliant.
You know, David Zucker, who hosted your wedding and produced Naked Gun and produced Airplane and produced Scream. What a legendary career.
Yeah,
And he's from Wisconsin.
And we're huge Green Bay Packer fans. And you noticed the joke that I wrote, and you said it stole it. And I'm glad that you have to be smart to catch the joke that I mentioned.
Yeah, you know, anybody that has been alive for 40 years, 50 years, got that joke. It doesn't need any more explanation. It was Cato did this toast at the wedding, or he's doing his speech, and David Zucker,
Who did Naked Gun?
who wrote it, produced it, was responsible for it. He was hosting the whole thing, the whole shindig in his backyard, and Cato had a brilliant speech, and he threw in there, "Thank you very much, David," and oh, by the way, thank you for not inviting Nordberg. Thank you for that, right?
Yeah,
Actually, the delivery was much better for you. Want to recreate that?
So David Zucker, of course, from Naked Gun and Scary Movie franchise and Airplane and everything else, but from Naked Gun. And David, I really appreciate you letting us have your home and really appreciate that you didn't invite Nordberg. There we go.
You did that so much better, man.
That's okay. There we go. But we did that. Fun. And speaking, that's a backyard wedding. And that's a perfect segue.
You know, it's funny because that's where weddings are going. Who wants to do a big wedding in a church anymore? Kids don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Young kids don't want nothing to do with that. Why? It's so damn expensive.
Kids want to do it on Instagram. That's it.
Do it on Instagram and have everybody give you some cash. Have your parents,
It's a good idea.
fund you in a different way. But who wants to do all that
I tell
nonsense
people I'm
with-
registered at Venmo. That's it.
Perfect.
I just register. We're at Venmo. Yeah, it was that or the liquor barn. We'll take that. If she's Asian, we're at P.F. Chang. I don't know. We're registered at a bunch of places. Just send what you can, please.
Sheng Yi have any issues with these lines? She's listening to the show, right?
Don't let us down, and please don't let your pants down. It's a show. We'll take whatever you got. That's what we do here. Tom and I have always said patience is a virtue, and frankly, we don't have time for it. So do what you can. Give. I got a feeling if Larry's waiting, Larry Foreman's going, I love this show. I can't wait to get on.
Okay,
Talk to these guys.
on the day of our taping, I literally saw this story in the news, somehow got a hold of Larry, and we were able to book him same day. So very, very grateful for Larry. Why don't we bring him in right now?
And before we do, I want to also, after Larry, we should also, AJ, he'll know stuff about Britney. We should talk about Madonna, Britney. I'm sure that he knows them, firsthand.
Yeah, we'll do it.
We'll do that.
For sure.
But,
AJ,
but I want to
comments
meet
on that.
Larry.
Okay, Larry, let's bring this man in. He's a busy attorney in Louisville, and is joining us now.
There he is.
Larry Foreman. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you've seen the news stories, it's been everywhere. Larry is an attorney, a very successful attorney in Kentucky, and went to the trial multiple days, took notes on about a $4 notepad, right? And decided he was going to sell his wristband and the notepad. So we got to hear all about this, Larry.
It's a young guy, Larry, there. It's like the wristband, the rock star. Larry, welcome to the show. 1 Degree of Scandal.
Oh, stop it. You give me too much credit. I just, I decided to do something that I think anybody who has time to kill in my shoes would have done. I packed my bags and I went to Virginia.
Yeah. Johnny Depp fan, right?
Of course, I enjoy his movies, but that's not the reason I went. I went because I noticed that nobody was reporting on the people who are going to be deciding this case. And I'm like, why is nobody looking at the jury? Why is nobody taking notes on the jury? So I decided to go in and check it out for myself.
Well, it's a good point you bring up because we had Nick from People Magazine, and we asked him that question. He said that his view was hard to see the jury. Now, according to what you're saying, you had the actual, you could view the jury, you could see the reaction to Amber, reaction to Johnny. And I mentioned before on shows that I said, in the court of public opinion, people love Johnny. And I bet you the jury, well, I wasn't there, I bet you the jury was this exact same way, just being Johnny Depp fans. Because when I was in the OJ trial, I saw the jury waving to OJ. And I was like, oh, this is a no-brainer. They love him.
No. None of that happened. I've never, in my 6 days of being inside that courtroom, I've never seen a juror wave to Johnny.
No, but could you feel the vibe? Was there any way in your notes, did you feel like, oh boy, this is going to go Johnny's way?
Yes. Okay. So here's what I can tell you. So my confusion and lack of information from the mainstream media has led me to physically decide to go there. So I told my associates, look, watch the fort while I'm gone. Because the original plan was for me to go for 1 day and 1 day only. That was that Monday, May 16th, because the last time that we had testimony was on my birthday, May 5th. And Amber Heard was on the stand. And that's when the whole world was like, wait a minute, something is missing here. Something is wrong here. So I was like, I didn't even make the decision right then and there, but I knew, I was like, okay, so you know what's coming. As an attorney, cross-examination of Amber Heard is coming. Either Ben Chu, Camille Vasquez. At the time, we didn't know who was going to be doing it. So I said, okay, what about I'm just going to go in and take a look. So it turns out a couple other attorneys had that same independent decision. So the three of us camped out the night before. I live streamed the whole thing. It's on YouTube on my channel, the DUI Guy Plus. And the next morning, I mean, we were exhausted. I'm not going to lie, because we were up all night, but I was
waiting in line, right? That's how you get in. I mean, you were just like anybody else. What time did you get in line?
9:30
p.m.
p.m. the night before.
And slept there.
Well, I didn't sleep, but yeah.
Cato, maybe that's what everybody's doing in LA. They're waiting for the Johnny Depp trial. That's why they're all sleeping on the sidewalks out here.
I think they're under the bridge. 9:30.
Okay, so you guaranteed yourself a shot there by going at 9:30.
Yes.
But there was probably some other crazy super fans that were there as well.
So 98% of the public are Johnny Depp female fans. Mm-hmm. We were in the 3% of the male were actually there to watch the jury. And on the first day, which was that Monday, May 16th, I didn't even take notes. I didn't think about I literally, my goal was to just show up, take a look, see for myself what the jury is, report back and leave. But the next day, they convinced me to stay another day. And I said, fine, I can make it work. But the following day, I had to leave. So Tuesday, unfortunately, they were not able to get in. And I got in by myself with a buddy of mine. And as I was sitting there, I said, you know what? You guys were taking notes yesterday. Might as well. Let's take notes on the jury. So I had these loose leaf papers that my buddy gave me. And I started taking impressions of the jury.
Yes, I saw it. Yeah.
Well, the notebook came later.
Okay.
I haven't even gotten to the notebook yet. I was writing on a laptop on yellow sheets. I have 9 sheets that are loose leaf, and then I have 66 pages that are inside the notebook. So they're two separate things. So as I took notes on the loose leaf, about an hour and a half in, I was like, wait a minute. I remember this one dude on Twitter that went viral because he was at an event somewhere and he started live tweeting something. I couldn't even remember what the hell it was, but I was like, wait a minute. What if I live tweet the reactions of the jurors, like literally bring the entire world into that courtroom with me, and they can see the jury through my eyes? And that's what I did. And that's where my Twitter exploded. And then I left. Tuesday evening, I shared my discoveries and accomplishments with my fellow attorneys, because they were going to go in the next day again because they didn't get in on Tuesday. And I told them, you should absolutely, you're going to gain a following from this. So that's what they did. They went in on Wednesday and I think Friday, and then maybe even Thursday. I can't remember. But anyway, so they started gaining popularity as well. But I was gone. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and I could not tell you the amount of messages that I got on Twitter. I still haven't gotten through them. There's like 3,000 unread messages. I just can't.
Wow.
It's impossible.
So that part
it's
worked.
too much. But it's okay. Most of them, it was just, Larry, we need you to come back to Fairfax. Larry, please come back. Larry. I was like, fine, I'll come in. Okay. There's 1 week left. I told my troopers, I said, look, you guys hold the fort. I'll be back in a week, 1 more week. And they said, they have no real choice. I'm their boss. So they stuck around and they held down our clients and everything. So everything was taken care of. And meanwhile, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I was getting in every single day. There was a little bit of drama.
What time are you going in?
Yeah, I was going to say, what are you every day?
I had to sleep. We had line sitters. We had volunteers that were coming in,
you paid
sitting
them?
in line all night. No, they volunteered
to wait.
Why
in
the
line?
hell would they volunteer to do
And
that?
no pay?
because they wanted intel that only a select few of us could provide, and they were willing to sacrifice their own personal time.
So how did that work? Did they stay there at 9:30? Then you say, "I'll show up at 7 a.m." or something? You guys hold the fort.
Little tag team.
That's exactly right.
I like the tag off. Go. You get some sleep now.
You're fresh. Shower.
Well, because
looking
otherwise
good.
I would literally, because the line starts forming at about 3 p.m. while the trial is still going.
The next day.
So I would have to literally like exit the trial, go get some sleep, and come back in 2 hours every single day. That's humanly impossible.
Yeah.
All right.
And don't forget, I also have to go back and I have to tweet this shit. Then I have to live stream.
Yeah.
Then I have to get some sleep. Then I have to come. Like, it's literally one person.
It's 24/7.
Could not do this.
Yeah.
Like, I would need a press pass.
Yeah.
I would just need it. But the press, if I had a press pass, all of this would be solved.
Well, yeah, but we
there was
also
no
learned the press had to wait in line too.
Yeah,
it wasn't easy for them.
and then you could actually sold the press pass too.
Okay,
Literally,
so at what point, Larry, did you think, screw Twitter followers? Let's make some cash on this thing, right? I mean, those notes had to be interesting. What did you
Who's
write
making
on the
cash
notes?
on this?
No, I'm sorry.
Yeah, for the
donation to charity. Let's get that out of the way.
It's all donated to charity, man. None of this is for me.
No, exactly.
Just
That's
to
my
make
bad.
it clear.
Let's make cash.
No, you're good.
You let me finish. Let's make some cash for charity.
Yeah.
L.A. Children's Hospital, by the way. And tell everybody why you chose that. I think it's classic. Because you live in Kentucky. But all the money's going to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, a great hospital.
I think I know why.
Yeah.
But Larry, you tell us.
Why do you think so, Cato?
Well, I'm pretty sure it's because of a donation that was never fulfilled by Amber Heard.
Exactly right.
And that is actually a genius move. And I'm sure, did you come up with that? And if you did, how did they react to you? Did they just go, "This is so kind. Thank you for your benevolence"?
Well, so how it happened is it was actually another lawyer's idea initially, but he attached that idea to the wristbands. So I took that idea and I said, "That's brilliant.
Yep.
Let's do it together." He ended up not wanting to be attached to this directly. He may do it tangentially. It's up to him at this point. I don't really care. But of course, no, originally it was not my idea. It was his idea. And but then I was like, wait a minute, I have all these notes. I can auction that off too.
Yeah.
So that's when I got the idea to start with the notebook, kind of set the precipice, set the bar of what are people feeling this to be. Because I started the auction at 99 cents, the value of the notebook, because I'm like, this
I
is not
exaggerate.
worth.
I said it was $4. My bad. Yeah.
Well, whatever it was, the paper that it's written on is what it's worth, 99 cents to me. But what is in it, the people have to decide, what is this worth to you? And the people have spoken. They said, this is worth $15,000. And then our next step, and this is what we're doing now, we're auctioning off the wristbands. 100% of the proceeds are being donated, not pledged, donated.
Good,
Big difference.
To charity. They're actually going to be given all this money.
You're under oath.
Pledged.
Guaranteed?
Exactly.
Yeah. Can you imagine, Larry, though, had you had a wristband, or you still can, a signed wristband? A signed wristband would be amazing for you to have sold that. Or
I
someone
think
to have
there's
sold
still
that.
a possibility of getting it signed either by Vasquez, Chu, or Depp, but I don't know. I haven't really pursued that line yet. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, so
it's in the works.
Well, what's it like? You throw it out there for 99 cents. You have no idea how much you're going to get, and you see a little bidding war going on. Was it surreal watching this happen?
Yeah, because within 35 minutes, it was at $4,000, I think.
Wow.
If you look at the bidding history, because it's all public information, you can look it up.
Maybe you could.
It was pretty surreal.
Maybe
indeed.
you can help me out here. In the OJ trial, I've got binders filled with deposition. All my words, binders filled up from the courthouse in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
What can I get?
Ask the internet, man. Ask Twitter.
Oh,
Have you ever thought of that until you met Larry? Because it's a brilliant idea.
I never have thought of that because Larry, I also have a key to my guest house, and I think already I know from people that have offered me just from hearing the show it's already at $5,000. I'm not going to sell it, but I got the key to the guest house. But now I've got my debt. I'm going, geez, this is, it's 27 years. It actually is. With me signing it, it's probably worth something. And it's the pages of every Marcia Clark line to me. And
it's historical. It's a piece of history, and it's in your possession. You're the exclusive owner.
And I'm like you. My money, 100% is going to go to charity. Charity is my wife. So my wife. So listen, let me tell you, Charity happens to be a great girl. Every cent goes to her. No matter, and even stuff that I don't sell goes to charity.
Hey,
that's funny.
Let me change the subject. By the way, I'm attorney Larry Foreman. You're going on the witness stand in a little bit. I'm going to grill you, Cato. He told me this morning look how young he is.
I know.
He doesn't remember the OJ trial. I'm grilling you. I'm going to throw some OJ trial trivia your way and see how you do in a few minutes.
All right.
Can I tell you, I think I have a Louisville record. Let me know if this has ever been beaten. I went to the Kentucky Derby. Shonda and I went in 2014.
Shonda's wife.
My wife, Shonda. And that was the year of California Chrome. Oh, God. There's nothing like the Kentucky Derby, by the way. Larry, I mean, I'm sure you probably go every year, but Cato...
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's the most spectacular event. I've been to every event.
4 years.
It's so good. I mean, if the weather's good. 13 mint juleps in one day. I have the glasses stacked up to prove it.
Fuck.
13. 13.
Whoa, that's a lot.
It's impressive, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm surprised you were able to walk after that.
By the way, Cato, that's what people have when they call Larry at about 9:30 or 10 at night, because he is the DUI guy in Louisville.
I bet on a horse that had 2 guys come out of a horse suit. I said, they're not going to win.
God, mint juleps are good, though. They're good. They're delicious.
I was on Millionaire Row. So, Larry, this is you kind of have things in common. First of all, Johnny Depp likes drinking. Johnny Depp is from Kentucky. Have your paths ever crossed? Have they crossed with what you do?
Oh, well, actually I drove past his house in Versailles a couple of times, the horse ranch that he sold when he was in debt, where his mom used to live when she was disabled, I believe, or before she was disabled, because then he moved her in California with him. Actually, I am going to be celebrating 42 months of sobriety tomorrow.
Oh, congratulations.
Okay, that's awesome.
Let's go out for a drink.
Thanks.
But
Let's go for a drink to celebrate.
Can't wait. My round, not my treat. As a matter of fact, you try to call his business up. His number is actually 1.08.08.08.
Actually, we do have a 1-844 DUI guy vanity number.
Say it again. Go ahead. Say it again.
Come on, you need that for the jingles.
1-844 DUI GUI.
I see. I love it.
You got to have something that's memorable.
I like it.
Because if you're blitzed, it's got to have some.
Well, Kentucky
feedback
and Louisville, they've got Jennifer Lawrence, you got Johnny Depp, you got the Judds. It's like it's a celebrity kind of place, and a lot of people are moving there. They're moving to Nashville. So I'm aware of a lot of the talent. Tom Cruise, also another Kentucky person. We're going to get into the show.
Yeah. So Larry, what you've been talking to us for about 20 minutes. Is this the longest you've ever talked without getting a retainer or something? Probably.
Basically, yeah.
Well, we thank you. We appreciate it.
Boy, what a great.
Well, no, I'm also a YouTube personality, so don't feel that important.
Hey, Larry. So I'm looking at the notes that sold for $15,000 from the Johnny Depp trial.
Yep.
Your handwriting's not great.
No, it's fucking chicken scratch, bro.
It is.
What were you writing? What were the notes? Was this great insight, legal insight about the jury?
Let me answer that for Larry. It's a prescription for Vicodin. It's a doctor's prescription. I couldn't read it either. I go, my wife's from Beijing. I think you guys could relate. I thought that was Mandarin.
What was it? Was some good, insightful stuff?
So, okay, are we back on? Because
I was. We never got.
We
on.
don't do
no
rehearsals. Can't you tell?
I just don't fucking know because you guys are gone still. But anyway, so in all honesty and sincerity, I am a trial master. I'm considered to be a trial master because I have a lot of experience. I have more experience than some lawyers who've been practicing 50 years in my short, decade-long career. Because I put myself in a position to try and get as much trial experience. Completely, it has nothing to do with this trial and everything to do with my clients and getting my clients the best representation money can buy. So I picked DUIs because nobody knows how to do DUIs properly. And a DUI case is more difficult to defend than a murder case. So I started doing jury trials because that's a lot of times prosecutors will not bend or break until you forcibly take them and break them in half. And the only way to do that is when you have 6 strangers from the community who say, yeah, we disagree. There is no conviction here and here's why. And they give you an acquittal. also known as walking a client, or the 3-word verdict, which is my favorite, the not fucking guilty verdict. It's only possible if you get it within 5 to 15 minutes or less of jury deliberation. And I'm a proud owner of 2, a 5-minute and a 4-minute
like
verdict.
a walk-off.
Both. Basically, they walk to the room and they go, does anybody think he's guilty or she's guilty? And they're like, no. All right, let's order some soda and get the fuck
And that's
out of
because
here,
of the defense. It's because of you.
Yeah,
because of
they
the
would have been
defense.
convicted with a regular lawyer.
You would do really well
Exactly.
here in Los Angeles, first of all, because many of the actresses, many of, I don't mention celebrity actresses, have been caught driving drunk many times. And the police actually have to tap on the head to get them off the breathalyzer. Okay, that's enough. get your
What's
lips
his
off
name?
that breathalyzer.
The guy from Anchorman, and he was in the office
Yeah.
a couple of times.
Right.
He got a DUI like last night, didn't he?
Yes,
I saw
he
a
did.
headline somewhere.
Yeah, the
What's
sports
his
guy.
name?
I forgot his
bald
name. I
guy.
forgot the actor's
David
name.
Kushner?
Yeah,
If that's his name.
Kushner. I think
Yeah,
so.
David-
Whammy.
Yeah.
That guy.
That sounds
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I have all this, like I remember my first jury trial. It was atrocious. It was horrendous. I was, it was a trial by fire for me. I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I was learning as I was going, but then you get better. Your second, your third, your fifth,
Confidence.
your 10th, your 12th. And like I've had about 25, at least 25 jury trials at this point. So I know what to look for. I'm comfortable in a courtroom. Judges don't scare me. Juries don't scare me. Police officers don't scare me. Prosecutors don't scare me. I'm ready, willing, and able to like approach this confrontation in confidence. And so my idea, when I realized, why is nobody looking at the fucking 7 people that are going to be deciding this case? Why is nobody looking at them? Like it was driving me insane.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to go. I'm going to be the guy.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at them and then I'm going to tell the world what I saw. Like when I say the world, I mean like my associates, my
your
girlfriend,
peers.
my parents. Like that's what I was thinking at the time. I didn't realize so many other people were curious as well.
Yeah. Okay. So Cato, and Larry, all joking aside, he is in the top 1% of all trial attorneys in the country. That's a fact,
Yeah, that's
right?
correct.
That's not okay. So
You only
you
get
are
there
a great
through experience.
Yeah. So you tried to downplay it at the beginning, but let me come back at you with a little love for you. Does your competition, when you're stepping into a courtroom in Kentucky, they got to be scared shitless, right? I mean, with your reputation and what you're going to do and the preparation that you have, probably your reputation, speaks for itself, and even the jury or the judge has that planted in their mind a little bit. Is that part of the game for you?
At this point, yes, I can't downplay that. Prosecutors, when they see my name, I have noticed a definite change in attitude when my name gets added to the list.
Yeah, and they probably want to do some kind of plea bargain too, I'm sure. Like, okay, my client-
Sometimes. I mean, we still have jury trials. I mean, I had one in January and I had one in March, and we won both so far. I was supposed to have a few more, but they started settling, settle in our favor, of course.
Well, you picked honestly the best thing for Larry and your business, I'm sure, is booming. Is Kentucky bourbon. It just kind of hand in hand because I mean, I've been there, and trust me, there's a lot of drinking, which is not, I'm saying a bad thing, but you have Uber now, but still.
Yeah, we
It's
have
bad if
Uber,
you
and
got-
it's
it's
people
bad if your
still
Uber
are
driver
going
gets
to be
drunk.
stupid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Larry Foreman, the guy who's, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I was going to say, great. I really enjoy this time.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Larry. Okay, so $15,000 is what you made for charity for the Children's Hospital in Los Angeles for selling your notes. Do you have a napkin from your lunch that day? Do you have anything else? Maybe.
Well, the wristbands are coming up, right?
The wristbands. Let's
So
keep
the
it
wristbands
rolling,
are
right?
coming up. I still have my parking receipts
Gonna
from
sell
the
'em?
parking garage. I might.
Why not?
I don't know if anybody wants them. Again, at this point, it's like I have a pen from Chanley Painter from Court TV that I might auction off. I mean,
Hey, let me ask you this, Larry. Did a lawyer buy the notes? Because
No.
it was about a jury. Maybe they can get some insight from it. Just an average person bought them?
I mean, the whole point of the notebook was initially it's just for me because you can't have electronics in the courtroom unless you are on the legal side for either team or part of the representation for either team, which I was not. So electronics were prohibited. So I couldn't even pull my cell phone or a computer out. I would get booted out of that courtroom immediately. So I had to memorialize, if I wanted to tweet about it, to remember it, I had to write it by hand. And about maybe Tuesday or Wednesday of that final week, that I was there, that's when I got the idea of, wait a minute, other than the wristbands, I could also auction this off.
Right.
But then a new layer was added on Thursday. I was supposed to, well, Wednesday and Thursday, I got signatures from people in the line. So both covers have signatures from line sitters, also people who wanted to go see Johnny Depp. Those were Johnny Depp fans. They were not there for the jury. So I got those signatures. I got that idea. And then I was like, wait a minute. On Friday, when I got not allowed into the courtroom because some other law tuber decided to interfere and prohibit me from getting in, which is, like I said, another law drama in and of itself. But it actually gave me more exposure than I ever thought possible by not getting in. I decided, because I was so burnt out and exhausted, I still had Amber Heard's rebuttal testimony, both direct, cross, and redirect, in my notes as to how the jury reacted to Amber Heard. And I said to myself, wait a minute, how magical would it be? And how much value would it now add to the notebook to have notes in there, and there are 11 pages worth of, Dr. Hughes is in there as well, but nobody really gives a shit about Dr. Hughes. People care about Amber Heard. And there are about 7 or 8 pages of Amber Heard of those 11 that directly point to what juror number blah, blah, blah was doing when Amber Heard was asked this question, when Amber Heard was answering that question, and so on and so forth. And now they can tweet this to the world and get their 15 minutes of fame if they want to, or they might not. The point is, nobody in this world has seen any of that information. It is secret. And the winner of the auction, which I'm waiting. So the final judgment date, I don't know if you are aware how like the court proceeding stuff works practically, but June 1st, although we had the verdict on June 1st, it is not going to become final until June 24th, when they get back before Judge Ascarati, both parties, and the judge will enter a final judgment. And then Amber Heard's team, or Johnny Depp's team, if they want to appeal the $2 million, they both have 30 days to appeal. So June 24th to July 24th. July 24th is going to be the final drop dead date for appeal. And I already let the auction winner know, who, by the way, is from Cynthiana, Kentucky, which is really weird. They're very close by to me, just so happens. I told them that they can come in person to pick it up on July 24th.
I'll tell you what, to wrap up the whole story, the most wonderful feeling would be if the person that bought the notebook was Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams.
The Notebook.
Thank you.
Love it.
Nick Casper.
He was sitting on that one.
Nick Casper. I was.
That would be
I
epic.
know he's busy.
That was good, Cato. Hey, by the way, okay, everybody, subscribe to our YouTube channel, 1 Degree of Scandalous,
Please
with
do.
Cato Kalin and Tom Zenner, so you can see what a good-looking young lawyer this is that's kicking ass up and down the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
And watch it
You
with
see
a
that? I didn't say
soda,
mistake.
with just
By the
a
way,
soda.
Larry, I want you to see something right now. Watch this. This is your YouTube channel. I am subscribing to it as we speak.
And
That's so
everybody else
cool.
should do that too.
Done. I just subscribed. I want Larry to plug our show to his 240,000 subscribers on YouTube, or just whatever you're doing, Larry. Plug it out. We're 3 weeks in. We're doing well. But yeah, throw it out there for us if you can. Really enjoyed having
I
you.
will. And if you guys send me the clip, I will absolutely post it on my channel.
Okay.
I'll be happy
We
to
will
do
for
that
sure.
for you
Hey,
guys.
really a pleasure though, Larry. And I'm sure if I come down there next time, I'm going to, if your permission, give you a call when I'm visiting my buddy Tom Mabe, and we'll talk sober.
I'm down.
You love it?
I'm down.
You down for that, buddy?
Cato,
I love it.
before
I
he
see
goes,
that. I see
before
you.
you go, 3 rapid fire questions. You ready? Don't Google this. You
shit.
ready? Okay, number one.
Okay.
Whose bedroom did O.J. Simpson allegedly sleep in the week that he was arrested?
His mother.
Kim Kardashian. 0 for 1. What kind of vehicle was O.J. Simpson in on the freeway chase as cops looked for him?
White Bronco.
Okay, good job.
He's very
Final one. What piece of evidence did Simpson attempt to wear during a key moment in the trial, which Cato was at?
The glove.
Okay,
obviously.
good. Okay, you tried to act this morning when I called you that you're too young to remember any of this.
Guess
Good
what?
job.
Well, I know the big pieces, but
You're
I didn't
good.
know the bed one.
It's all good. You just want a wristband to our show.
Okay,
Anyways.
hey Cato, you've got a lawyer to represent your sale of your deposition notes. Okay.
Okay, my
the glove does not fit, you must acquit.
actual transcripts from the deposition and transcripts from the trial. I thank you so much, and thanks
thank you guys.
all the
It's
time
been
you
fun.
gave us.
Yeah, Larry, thanks so much, man. Late notice and all. Appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. Larry
Thank
Foreman.
you.
And
See you guys.
Thank you. And you think right now, how could the show, can it get better? Is it a possibility? We're going to try because Our next guest, well, as you know,
Yeah.
is AJ Benza, and I'm a huge AJ fan.
Yeah.
And even before I even had any contact with AJ, I just said he has this gruff. He's got this thing. It's like you love him, you hate him, and all that. And I just love him. And he tells it like it is. There is nothing but truth that comes out of AJ's mouth.
Yep, good friend of Cato. They go way, way back. And AJ's one of those guys that if you follow entertainment and pop culture, you know the voice, you know the name, you know the look.
Yeah.
And he's going to be joining us just a sec, because he's covered most of the big scandals of the past quarter century.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe all of them. He was the top gossip columnist in New York at the Daily News, and he's going to like dish on everything for us in the next 10 or 15 minutes.
I love that. And by the way, for the Daily News, if anybody wants to Google when the Ryan Murphy show came out with the OJ, the one that won 8 Emmys, I mentioned it before. They asked me, the Daily News asked me to write one article about the series. Well, that one became all 10. And the Daily News, they took care of me on that, and it was very, very cathartic for me to write about that stuff.
And they paid you for all 10, right?
They paid me for the one, and then they said, we'll pay you even more for the next.
Beautiful.
So it was.
By the way, side note before we bring in AJ.
Yeah.
Remember when I asked you, we were talking about guests for this show? I go, Cato, why don't we bring the guy that played you in that Ryan Murphy docudrama?
Billy Magnuson. I'd love
Billy
that.
Magnuson.
Yeah.
And you reminded me of the career he's had since then.
Yeah, Billy Magnuson also did a Bruce. He did a thing with the Bruce Lee film, but before that, and then he did the last Bond, No Time to Die, and he was he's a huge part of that film.
Yeah, we'll get him on.
And we'll see what we can do. But yeah, I did an article with his best friend. He came out to see me in L.A. Do a whole story about me because of that.
Really?
Of Billy Magnuson doing me.
Okay, before we bring in AJ, we're going to come to him in 1 minute. Tell us a little bit more about those notes that you have and any other memorabilia. We showed the key on our first episode of 1 Degree of Scandalous with Cato Kalin and Tom Zenner. Subscribe now, by the way. What else do you have? Do you have a locker full or a closet full?
When I would go to the trial, I have to go through the people and all that. There's a lot of people selling merchandise, and one gentleman kept having all these Cato's back hats. So I've got the Cato's back hat. I've got a T-shirt or two. I've got when I did radio shows all over the country, I did the Kentucky Derby. I have memorabilia from that with Anita Madden, who was she's passed away, the #1 party. And that was, I'll never forget the first Kentucky Derby I did because it was filled with hate. Everybody hated me from people that I loved in my life.
Even in Louisville?
Ed
But
Harris.
they're so nice out there.
From actors that were invited to the Derby. Ed Harris, which I think is one of the greatest
Bundy?
actors.
Oh, Ed Harris, the Academy Award winner, The Firm.
I read the articles that everybody said it's a disgusting shame that I was there.
Really?
I just cried. I was like, oh my, I just came because I was invited for a charity. And Geraldo, who is my friend now, but Geraldo just destroyed me.
You see, what they were thinking is that you were trying to capitalize on it and you were asking for invitations when they were inviting you.
Yeah, and I by the way, I didn't. And the people that I met, still in contact today because it was I like people. I just do. I was never brought up. I let them bring up anything. I take a lot of abuse, but I just Teflon again.
It bounces off you.
And
good luck.
It has to.
Good luck not liking Cato after you meet him. It's impossible. So these guys can talk shit, but they flip once they get to know you. All right, we're going to bring in AJ. As we're bringing him on Zoom, Zach, if you want to bring him in, tell us the first time you guys met. Obviously, it had something to do with the trial.
Boy, no, I think AJ's got to tell that story because he said he wants to save it for the show. And I was like, when did we first? I'm pretty sure I was in New York. And if AJ's here, he's going to probably tell the story. And people wanted to take me out everywhere.
Right.
And everywhere. And I'm not a guy that always would go to strip clubs. And they're going, you got to go to Scores. This might be the story. I don't know. And I think it was possibly, I met AJ in New York, I'm sure. Was it at Scores? And who would have think nowadays if you go to Scores and you want bottle service, they're talking about baby bottle service because of the price of formula. Is it just me? Can I please can I get a seat near a high chair? Is there any way I can get some Enfamil, any kind of breast milk, anything? Can we get that kid off the mother's boob, please? It's Scores. AJ.
Okay, let's see if he has a different recollection of how you two met. Let's bring him in. AJ Benza, big-time gossip columnist in New York, personality on TV. He's got his own podcast now.
Fame is a bitch.
Yep. AJ, thanks so much, man.
Thank you, guys. I was starting to fall asleep. I'm a half hour past our allotted time. What's going on
Blame
with
Cato.
you?
He tells the truth, baby. He
Jesus
tells the
fucking
truth.
Christ. You tell me 2 o'clock. I'm ready. And it's 2:24.
Or
Come
so.
on, Tom.
Me?
I know you're...
You and Kate.
Tom, well, what's the deal? Let's go. Let's talk. I'm ready to go, bro.
How did you meet Cato? Was it at a strip club? Did he do a lap dance for
No,
you?
I first saw him at the O.J. Simpson trial, which I attended as a journalist for the New York Daily News. That's when I first saw him. And I, not to sound gay, but it is Pride Month, I fell in love with him. I liked the way he looked and sounded. I knew he felt like a deer in the headlights, but I thought he did amazingly well. And he had some, nobody really knew Kato in New York anyhow. I mean, we didn't know of Kato Kaelin. And then he became something of a phenomenon. And then once the trial ended, we began, a lot of the people in the trial went to Scores. And I mean, even Judge Ito went to Scores, which was insane.
Not as a dancer.
No, he didn't dance, although I gave him some money just to sit next to me. There's a picture in my book of Kato sitting on my lap. Not a lap dance, but just sitting on my lap. And I just found him very engaging. And I knew that, and I have said this to Kato, and he wants to hear it again because I know he's got an ego like I do. I said, if he was never caught up in this nonsense with OJ, he would absolutely have had a sitcom or two and be raking in syndication money right now because he's that funny and that charming. And I just, I latched on to him as a guy I wanted to be friends with.
Yeah.
And,
Well, AJ, you knew all those comedians too. You knew all those sitcom stars. You could compare them. You could tell he had the chops. It would have happened, no question. Yeah.
Yeah.
He totally had the chops. He's there's no reason he could not have been. I mean, you want to put Joe Rogan in the show or Kato Kaelin? You want to put David Spade? I love Spade, but yeah, Kato could have fit in so many sitcoms back then, and it would have happened. But he got that scarlet letter on him, and that was it. And it was painful to see because I know from knowing him. He's one of those guys, like when Johnny Carson would see Burt Reynolds, they would just start hysterically laughing over nothing. That's the way I am with Kato. We just look at each other and it begins.
Yeah.
He has that effect on people.
Yeah. Well, Kato, AJ's had an amazing career. You were one of the kings of the gossip world in New York City in the 90s. Those were the heydays. You had big competition, too. What were those days like when you were competing against Page Six, Liz Smith, all this stuff? Was it pretty heated amongst you guys? Was it cutthroat?
Yeah, it was. Back then I'd walk to work and the way you could gauge if you were winning the tabloid war was walking by newsstands and seeing which stack of newspapers was lower. And if the Post stack was lower, that meant, oh shit, we're not winning. We got to fucking turn it up. It was so exciting because we were all covering the same scandals, whether it was Tanya Harding, O.J. Simpson, Menendez brothers, Joey Buttafuoco, you name it. We all had the same contacts, same sources, but you had to just win the battle. And it was cutthroat. I couldn't stand Richard Johnson. And I wanted to fucking punch him out. But we're friendly now to this day, but there was a time where war. Cindy Adams, it was war.
And your editors are looking at you every day. What do you got for me? What do you got? Right? Look what they got. Right? That had to be incredible pressure.
But in what AJ though, what you had is your personality and the gruffness and all that. Everybody had their own style. You had your style, so you had your fans. It was already built in with your fans.
When it comes to scandal, gossip, just getting down and dirty, you cut your teeth in New York, king of scandal out there. Now you're in LA. Is there a big difference when it comes to salaciousness? Which city produces the best scandals?
New York. I mean, only because LA people really, there's no gossip columns in Los Angeles. They read Variety, Deadline, and The Hollywood Reporter. So there's no gossip. In New York, there were a number of newspapers where if you're in the paper that day, that night when you go out, the whole town knows. It's a very small, even though it's big, New York, it's very small. We all know each other. And LA didn't really have that. But New York is a much more salacious town. At least it was back in the 90s. In LA, it's just, I don't go out anymore and search for gossip. I just do my podcast. I know so much. I've been around for 30 years. I know all the connections. I can tell a story if it's true or not. by just looking at it briefly. I can make one phone call and get to the root of the matter. But no doubt, New York was a much more severe city for gossip.
Okay, don't you think it's because everybody's afraid of offending the studios and the entertainment industry?
In LA, 100%. It's like AJ said, it's sort of like the scarlet letter that I had on here. I don't think New York is that judgmental, and I felt that when I was there. I mean, I love living in LA, but I felt like
more welcoming. You, Cato,
it was
Cato.
maybe because it was different that I was an LA guy visiting there, but I always felt that warmth of. Hey, he's an all right guy. It's Cato. Come on. And I just remember going into bars, whatever, and everybody just buying and just lifting you up on the bar, and just they go, motherfucking Cato's here, and it's just the way it was. And
New York is it is a warmer city. Now let's not talk about New York now, but back then New York is a much warmer city. In Los Angeles, they treat you right if they know you have cancer that can't be cured. Like, that's when they get nice to you. It's a very different city. It's very catty. I can't stand it. I just can't stand the way the people in LA are. And I had a great time doing TV shows out here and making friends, but it's just so fucking shady. The people, they hug you, but when they pat you on the back, they're looking for the soft spot to put the knife in.
You know what, Cato? If I could read between the lines there, it's almost like he's calling people in LA fake. I just can't believe that.
Yeah.
AJ.
Well, because in New York, they stab you in the stomach. In LA, they stab you in the back. I'd rather be stabbed in the stomach and see it coming.
Just please use a butter knife for me.
AJ, when you're fighting for the big story in New York, and it is cutthroat because that's what it was back in the day, could you pay sources? Could you throw cash around to get the story?
Never once. There was never. The newspaper I worked for never did that. That was never part of the game. The Inquirer and all those other sorts of papers did that. But the Daily News and the New York Post, no, that money was never, you weren't allowed to do shit like that. No, you had to go fight for stories. That's it. You have to be really, people have to respect you and trust you. And that's why I stayed out the longest and got in really, like, for instance, I hung around with Tupac Shakur a lot when, before he was shot the first time. And Mickey Rourke and the guys.
In New York, right? You were hanging with them in New York.
94, 93, 94. And you have to prove yourself to them. And once you prove yourself, they open up. But LA is nothing like that. For instance, like, I was friends with George Clooney for a minute. And then all of a sudden it just ended. Like, it just ended. I don't know, like, he would call me, I would call him, come to this bar, there's a girl that wants to meet you, he'd meet me, the girl would hook up with him, and I don't know, like, it's just a different world. They just disappear. This is many years ago, but New York gossip is just more real. The LA people are more fake, and I'm not about that. I'll never get over that. I like real people, and LA...
Well,
LA is not full
the
of
whole
real
media
people.
business is just completely different. I worked in the 90s in television. I was in Chicago at NBC when the Bulls won 3 titles. Then I was in Boston. It was just a different world. I got out of local news.
Yeah.
It's just not the same. You're not treated the same. You can't do the same things. You're kind of scoffed at and mocked if you're in local news right now. It's kind of a joke. I'm so glad I'm not doing it, to be honest with you. But it's a bummer because this industry the newspapers should be competing against each other still, and they are kind of, but it's not like it was.
There's no newspaper. The newspapers don't matter anymore, man.
The only thing,
you know what? When I was a gossip columnist, I don't know. Maybe there were 15 influential gossip columnists in America. Yeah. Maybe. Now, once the internet blew up, there are hundreds and thousands of people who write about gossip. They're not trained. They don't have editors. They don't have lawyers. They just blurt shit out. And it's very dangerous, and people's careers get hurt. When I wrote, you had to have 2 or 3 Pulitzer Prize winning editors looking at your shit, plus a legal team before it ever hit the newspapers. It's all different now.
No newspapers anymore. Last time I saw a newspaper,
it's sad.
it was used as a blanket with a homeless guy out in front of the studio. That's the last time. It just wrapped up. But AJ, Tom was mentioning Chicago during the heyday of the Bulls, and I know in New York, and I know that you're a sports guy. I love sports. I had a show called Sports Haters, and the one thing I remember that we know Bill Maher, both of us, and he loves sports. I think he's part owner of the Mets, and so we talk sports a lot. And the story that always sticks out of my mind, AJ told about is I'm not going to say that you're gambling, but a pitcher from the Pirates. If you correct me. This story it's very scandalous, and I think if you have a second to tell it.
Oh, I love this story. Everybody back then came to Scores. If you were in town from an opposing team, you went to the Scores strip club. It was just a thing to do. So that was run by the Gambino and the Genovese crime family together. They both partnered up and took a cut from Scores. So I knew all the mafiosa guys there. And one night, Doug Drabeck, who was a great pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates, came in and we got him hammered. He could barely walk. And he was pitching the next day at Shea Stadium against the Mets. So I tell the mobsters, listen, he's fucking gone. 3 sheets to the wind. Put all your money on the Mets tomorrow. Drabeck can hardly stand up. We threw him in a cab and he laid down in the back seat. So everybody got down on the game. The next day we turn on the TV and it's like 6th inning, Doug Drabeck throwing a 2-hitter back and he's untouchable at this moment. It was unbelievable. I mean, I remember seeing the Knicks, Charles Oakley laying face down in the back room, and yet the next day he could compete on a professional level. It was like nothing else. But we did do things like that. That was amazing.
Rodman was the same way. He could pound kamikazes by the dozen and show up at practice the next day. I've seen it. Yeah.
So
I go, listen, in 2000, I'm hanging out and I see Jason Giambi from the Yankees. And that was the year the Yankees played the Marlins in the World Series. And Jason Giambi was asked to pinch hit. And he said, no. And Yankees
this doesn't work for me. I'm good.
You're not going to pinch hit.
Wow.
And I saw him and I go, and I had a Yankee hat on and I go, bro, what the fuck happened down there? And he touched his nose and he said, we were fucked up. I was fucked up. We had a ball. It was Miami.
It's
unbelievable.
AJ, let's go back to the mid-90s. You're covering the OJ trial. Cato's in the middle of it. It was the biggest thing in the history of the planet when it comes to scandal. Nothing will ever touch it. You can probably confer to that. What would you do to dig up a story? I mean, you're competing with Dominic Dunn. Everybody's out there. Every reporter is out there. Where would you go at night? Would you hit the clubs in L.A.? Would you go to restaurants? Would you go to Brentwood? Where were you? Beverly Hills?
I was everywhere. But honestly, the way that the breaking stories came through for us was just over the phone. You have to amass a network of people that you can call that can put you within 1 degree of the scandal. So if you got 3,000 people, that's the key to being a gossip reporter. You need to know everybody. When you go out at night, you shake hands, you need to know everyone. So, for instance, the Michael Jackson story, my column broke that. The pedophilia thing, him and Jordy Chandler, we broke that only because we knew this old Jewish publicist who represented a clothing store. But he said to us, would you like to hear a story about Michael Jackson? I said, yeah. He said he's got a young friend. They're going to Euro Disney, and he's 13. And our ears pricked up. And it's the sickest thing. His wife was friends with the kid's mother, and the mother would tell her, and she would tell this guy, Bernie Bennett, and Bernie would tell us. So it's all about knowing a lot of people and having them in your phone. That really is what it is. It wasn't like, going to clubs, you'll get your story here and there. But if you hear a rumor, you've got to know who to call.
Yeah, you got to put in the hours and grind. That's
yeah.
all, just like anything else.
I 1 degree again is that Lee Salters was my publicist for a while. Which
Lee,
is Michael
I know
Jackson's.
Lee very well. Yeah,
that was we had the same publicist.
Amazing.
And it was just like I said, the 90s is people. I don't think they can. We didn't have Twitter. We didn't have a lot of the social media, but people didn't realize. I mean, what it was like to go out for me, and this is not big-headedness, but I remember going to the Derby or going to places and going to a mall where 10,000 people came, and I was like, really? And because I make fun of it, I tell people that never has a man done so little to be recognized by so many. I mean, and I laugh at it. I go, that's basically my byline.
I still have a guy to this day who is pushing the theory that OJ had a friend with him named Charlie who helped him in the murders. This guy is pushing this theory. He's got a screenplay that so-and-so wrote, and this guy Charlie was involved. I mean, you have no idea. It's still happening now
completely.
in 2022.
Like you said, you had the Depp trial, and people call up and they want my opinion, but it's because it'll be compared to every trial, so it's never going to end. TV shows
Never.
It's an anniversary's coming up, and it's always an anniversary, so it will never ever end.
Well, how did you feel about the TV series they did on the Simpson trial? They portrayed you. How did you feel about that?
I worked with one of your employees. I was at Daily News writing it.
Yeah.
I thought
I
enjoyed that so much because I think they came across going, we'll give him one, we'll see what he does. And when they said that, when I wrote, it was very acerbic, I thought witty, that they said, keep writing, we like this. I thought, I knew what they were going to go with. They're going to go with me being the airhead.
A caricature.
And, it's a caricature. They're going to make it. And the guy they used was Studley, so that was a nice thing. Billy Magnuson, he's got this. But I did run a lot. I ran at that time, and Billy's always got his shirt off. He answers the door with his shirt off. It's like stuff that didn't.
Right.
You have to embellish. They put the Kardashians in there a lot when they were nothing. They weren't part of the. I'd be at the house, and the whole thing is they wrote them into certain things in the show, and that was 27 years ago. I knew Kim when she was that big, and that was just her ass. I say you tell Kim to haul ass. She makes 2 trips, but seriously, I saw what they were doing, and what's really funny is that Jeffrey Toobin wrote it. And
oh boy!
And the whole thing is, let's say
that's another episode, by the way.
I know.
On Zoom, doing that whole, but
right.
He didn't want anything to do with me as far as I never asked to be in it, but I would think as an actor, I met one of Billy's friends, and then he did an interview where he was so complimentary towards me, saying, I didn't meet Cato, I heard he was charismatic, and now I could go on what he said because I was going, God, I love this guy, but he never met. But as an actor, regardless, I don't know how you don't want to meet, regardless if you wanted to use it or not. You just kind of want to feel what that person is. As an actor,
of course.
You just want to for a performance, and you can make your own judgment. But
so you never met him. You never spent any time with Billy beforehand.
Nothing. Just on Twitter.
I mean, that's just mailing it in. How do you not? I mean, you're accessible. It's not hard to find Cato, right? Or maybe he just wanted to do a different spin.
I think so. I think that's what the interview. He just decided he was going to do what he had in his mind, which is fine. But
maybe they told him not to meet with you. You never know.
But that's part of the problem with today's media. They mail a lot of stuff in. What I was taught in the 80s when I came up is nobody should be surprised that they're in the paper tomorrow. You need to call people. You need to be really representative of their truth and what their situation is. You can't surprise anybody. And that's all changed now. But, you just look. Part of the reason why you became what you became was you had the greatest fucking head of hair in the world. You still do. But back then, no one saw a head of hair like that in the courtroom. I mean, you looked great and you sounded like you did all you could. But people just, so much of it no one knew about. Like, no one knew about a house guests. Like, that was a whole thing no one knew.
Right, yeah.
We didn't know like people in LA had house guests. We didn't understand that. That was a new thing. And then you heard the bump in the night. I have look. I have a theory about it. We all have theories. And I used to go to an after hours club down in a very black neighborhood on Crenshaw Boulevard, and all those guys thought OJ was guilty. You know, they just were like, he did everything but leave the fucking Heisman Trophy in the bushes. I mean, he did everything wrong. But there's something still within me that thinks there was somebody else. I can't help it. It's never going to go away.
Yeah, well,
and you know what? Go ahead.
I became friends with the detectives, and they
Yeah.
and I, like I said, I met with them hours and hours and weeks. I mean, I really was interviewed by everybody. And if the late Phil Vanetta, he just said to me,
Yeah,
after someone spends time with you, you can see they kind of like I like this Cato guy and all that. And he said to me, he said, Cato, this case has been the most investigated case in the history of all of our cases in the history of the LA Police Department, of 250 detectives and everybody contributing. He said, basically, this is a 2-minute Columbo episode. That's how much evidence they said they had.
Unbelievable. And they couldn't.
Yeah, but
And
you know what?
the prosecution threw a lot to out.
You
It
know
all came
what?
down to the glove.
There's really something to be said about Robert Kardashian and that bag he had that was
Never found.
dropped off
The
and
Louis Vuitton.
disappeared. Yeah, that's a really intricate plot point,
Well-
and it hasn't been investigated correctly,
And AJ,
it never will be.
and it ties into his reaction on the verdict. Robert's reaction.
You remember?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
He
was
didn't
sick.
show any joy.
He was sick.
Any happiness.
It was a look of disbelief, basically. Yeah.
Well,
No.
AJ, look, man.
He
I know
he was sick.
I know with your connections to the mob and everything.
Cato,
Yeah.
I know with
No, I just wanted to say, do you still have any connection or conversation with those people on the other side? I mean, you.
I've not had contact. I thought at that time, many years ago, I said, time to go. Everything's going forward in my life. I've always said that. It's time to always move forward and just keep pushing unless the door says pull, but to keep pushing and going forward. So I never had any contact. A few times with Tanya Brown, we've exchanged pleasantries on social media, and that's about it. I've not seen anybody, and I think that's the best, is to move forward in that.
But what do you think? What do you think it did to your life? Honestly, what do you think it did to your life at that age, 20 some odd years ago?
Yeah, 27 years. It's definitely it's a double-edged sword. I became famous. I became famous for the wrong reasons, which I agree. Everything went backwards. I had to prove myself. And I've said on this show, and many times, I've had my Screen Actors Guild card for over 40 years. I was like, another story I tell is I just tested for Dumb and Dumber in 1994. And that's when it all happened.
Wow.
I then became a caricature when I was getting really A-list readings. I was like, wow, I felt like I could feel something happening in my, like something big's going to happen. And it was the
Unbelievable.
murder trial.
Wow.
But it was.
And you've never talked to OJ. You've never seen him and talked to him since, or have you?
No, people always connected on Twitter. They always, if they want to put a thing, they always put his link to mine, but I don't. I don't do anything with it, and I'd rather not. There's things I could do, and I like where I'm at right now, AJ. And you and I AJ and I did a show on Fox, a reality show, which is very near and dear to me. And like I said, this is a great person. I really feel it in my heart.
Yeah.
And he just on a career, and you're getting paid. And he just said during the taping, he goes, "I quit. If you guys don't let Cato win, you guys are nuts." Because I put so much energy into it.
There's
Hey,
no
AJ.
way Cato. No way he wouldn't. Go ahead. Yeah, Cato won that.
Knowing Cato as long as you have, right, over a quarter century, don't you think a podcast is a perfect fit for him? Can't you see this thing taking off? Just free form, especially when we'll always, be able to bring back the OJ situation and people can see his personality for an hour every single week or more.
Listen, I'm Cato's biggest fan, and I'll tell you right now, the way the world is going, I do 11 shows a week between my two podcasts, and Cato is such a sweet, smart, funny, endearing person that, right now you need to be on a podcast and have a podcast every day, however many days you do it. But people need to know the real you, because there's still some people who think of you as that guy on the stand who was very kind of, like deer in the headlights, but that's not you at all.
Yeah, that's social
you're
media.
The kind of guy that you're just the kind of guy that makes everybody comfortable, everybody happy, everybody wants to have fun around you. You're a wonderful dude and a smart dude and very talented. And the podcast arena is perfect for you. But you've got to be able and ready to answer the machine gun questions about OJ, because it's gonna come to you till you die.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it interesting. And AJ, we're gonna end with that, okay? And we're gonna, unless you got one more.
I got one. AJ, I always said that hopefully one day you'll write an autobiography. I'm sure you probably are thinking about it.
About me, I've written my memoirs back in 2000, but I'm going to have at least 2 more in me. Sure.
They were written on napkins at
you're in a
stores.
picture. There's a picture of you in my memoirs. There's a picture of you sitting on my lap in my first book, Fame Ain't It a Bitch.
I love it. Well, HarperCollins asked me to do my autobiography, and I said I know nothing about cars, so that deal. That deal's done. I love you, buddy. Thank you for your time,
too,
man.
AJ,
what a great show.
Really appreciate it, AJ.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you again, okay? Thanks so much,
Thanks,
my man.
AJ. I'll text you after this.
Thank
We'll wrap
you
it up.
very much.
Thanks, buddy. Love you.
Thank you.
right.
Love you too,
Awesome.
guys. Take care, man.
All right.
AJ cathartic again. Just seeing AJ, and he's done, like you said, to everything from New York to doing.
Yeah, and he's raw, man. You get
you feel
the real insight, which
he
makes
said,
it so much
"Hey,
better.
you guys are late. Let's get the show." I'm telling you.
He blamed me. He didn't blame you. Okay. By the way, I think I don't know. I don't want to piss off AJ anymore. All right, great show today.
Yeah.
Okay, Larry Foreman, who sold the notes from the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard trial,
Yeah,
15,000 going to charity. He was fantastic. Make sure you subscribe and download to this podcast. All right, you want to get the notices every Wednesday for our new shows, and make sure you dial in and watch us on YouTube too.
Yeah, the YouTube, I really like it on YouTube because I listen to the show on podcast. I love it. I watch us on YouTube. I love certain little references we make just with our face.
Sure.
So I love that part.
Yep.
So the YouTube thing, great. Get us on the podcast. I got the link in my bio, Cato_Kalin on Instagram.
Yep.
Tom Zenner.
At Tom Zenner. You can just follow us on social media. We got clips from the show as it leads up to the release. So, hey, thank you, everybody. Look forward to our next episode. But, Cato, you have a great week. We'll see you guys all next week right here on 1 Degree of Scandalous with Cato Kalin and Tom Zenner.